Hey Giselle, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well too. It's good to see you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so how has it been for your new year? How so far it's been about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, yeah, we are 2 weeks in officially today.
Exactly.
So far so good. How about you?
It's been going good. I really honestly can't complain nonetheless. I mean, I'm enjoying everything that's been going on since the new year started, along with other things from the past couple of weeks too. So like I'm glad things going moving, more productive and more stabilized too.
Definitely.
And also, I want to say thank you for your time because, as you know, as a professional actor, your time is always like in a consistent schedule. You never know if they're going to need you for a session or all that other jazz. So I want to thank you again for your time.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So my first question is to definitely ask you, what ignited your passion of being an actor? Because from what I gather, that you've been acting since you were a child, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And my thing is, what made you want to pursue it as a career? Like, this is what I want to do to make a living. This is what I want to do because I love the whole idea of acting, of playing pretend. You know, it's the whole foundation of acting. I mean, I can go on and on to add more adjective within the meaning of the word acting. Like, how did it all start when you was a child going forward to like getting your college degree in theater?
Uh,
Sorry.
no, that's a big question, but yeah, no, that's great. No, I didn't, I mean, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to act as a kid. And my parents, were very wonderful to foster the
Oh,
creativity in me when
nice.
I was younger. So I
Yeah.
have them to thank. Uh,
You're good.
but beyond that, I mean, I mean, I've explored life a bit.
Mhm.
Beyond, as apart from theater, I also got a science degree
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. The
I worked in for
entomology.
a little while.
Yeah,
Entomology, I
yeah,
did, yeah.
entomology. There we go.
Um,
You're
and
fine.
so, I have more than one passion, but
Mhm,
acting was just the thing that just it always called out to me. I always ended up falling back to it, and
mhm.
it feeds me, I feel
Is
like.
it? Yeah. And then
Yeah.
going back to your entomology degree, I have to say you definitely love animals, right?
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I
That's
do.
really cool. I mean, it's like I love animals too. It's just like for you to have a to make a, get earn your degree in that field is it had to be a very rewarding experience once you earned it, right? Because animals you get like a new perspective, understanding of how they operate, how they live their life. They're still like a living thing among us humans.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think, well, part of the reason I didn't continue on my science path is because I love animals so much.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, when you get a degree in like entomology or something
Yeah.
really specific like that.
Hmm.
Your kind of options are stay in academia and
Hmm.
continue studying and being a part of that,
Hmm.
or go into pesticides and kill the thing you love. So
Such
it's
an
like,
irony, an irony,
yeah.
ironic. Yeah. Well,
um,
I'm glad your love for animals is still there, despite you continue on being a professional actor. And with that being said, I know you from the ATL, so was it transition from being being an actor into the world of voiceover? Was it like a whole new ground? Because in that neck of the woods is pretty much commercial gigs and other things like that. So was it like a big challenge in starting forward as a voiceover actor?
it did feel like starting over. Yeah, absolutely. Especially because I did a lot of the voiceover I did in Atlanta was mostly when I was a kid.
Okay, yeah.
And so, as I got older, I was doing other things and I was working other jobs, and I had connections through my dad, who works in marketing,
Nice.
fortunately.
Hmm.
But his connections are Atlanta connections.
Yeah.
So it did take a little bit to get adjusted to
Hmm.
it's a different community out here
Oh yeah.
entirely, and the vibe is different, and the things that people look for agency wise are different.
Hmm.
East Coast and West Coast have their own
Exactly.
like
Yeah, faction. Very, very
exactly. It is, it's very different in between
uh-huh.
New York and LA, the things that they look
Exactly.
for. And so yeah, so it's definitely an adjustment anytime you go somewhere new.
Hmm.
um
Yeah, I
yeah.
meant to ask you about you moving to LA because I know that had to be like a very, very challenging, tough transition because you're leaving what you know in Atlanta behind and you go into Southern California where you know everything's all about media, entertainment, etc. Is I don't think that's probably one of the reasons why I don't think I want to pursue voiceover per se because honestly I could build my own home studio, but I don't want to if I want to feed my acting drive, I definitely want to move to LA, but I want to leave many things behind, but I want to applaud you for doing that because I don't think I would have the courage to do so because I love where I'm in right now, you know.
Definitely. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It is
You're
hard.
welcome.
Anytime you move someplace new is hard.
Hmm.
But especially if that someplace new is 2,000 miles away from
Yeah.
everyone you know and love.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, I have definitely a lot of respect for people who, you know,
Make that kind of
go, I'm gonna
sacrifice.
go for it. Yeah, who
Yeah.
just pack up and move to New York or move to
Yeah.
LA or move wherever.
Hmm.
But I also I will say this, like my agency represents people in LA and
Oh
New
yeah,
York,
and New York,
but
Atlas, yeah.
Atlas, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll say a lot of the people who are on the roster don't live in LA. There are,
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know, there's every big city has a market, and you don't have to live in one. You just have to
Hmm.
live necessarily near one. I mean, I have agents still in Atlanta, and I work with them.
Nice.
So that's the nice thing about voiceover is
The flexibility
you
behind
can
it.
kind of do it from
Yeah.
anywhere. There are projects that won't let you do it from anywhere.
Oh
That's why
yeah.
you live in LA. The big name
Yeah, the
games, the
big
big
central,
animated
yeah,
people.
the hub.
Yeah. But even I think Disney records remotely
Yeah,
for
yeah, they do.
animated, you know?
Yeah,
So
they've been doing that for years. Then I didn't realize. I saw like a an interview, like a behind the scenes from The Emperor's New Groove. I saw Eartha Kitt. She did her session somewhere in New York City. I know. I'm sorry.
I just, oh, you can't talk about Eartha Kitt without my heart feeling some
Oh
sort of way.
yeah. She was man, she was definitely a trailblazer. She had so
A
much style
legend.
and class. She was an amazing actress. I do miss hearing her voice because she always had that fire, that sophistication, that articulation. You know, she was an amazing person for sure.
She was, yeah.
And a talented singer at that too.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And I also want to mention regarding your commercial work, you have an amazing voice for commercial. I remember I was driving my car like 2 years ago, and then I heard this nice voice, and then I realized I saw an interview with Chris Mayak. He's one of my good friends, by the way, which
Oh,
yeah,
okay. He's the
he's,
first one who ever contacted
yeah,
me for
he's a
interviewing.
really, he's like one of the most decent folks I met on social media, and I can't thank him
Okay.
enough for what he has done. But yeah, you have a very nice voice when it comes to commercial, and like I heard it you doing something about Coca-Cola, especially around the 4th of July holiday. I'm like, wow, she,
Yeah.
I'm like they sound very, very, very amazing, you know.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. And also, do when it comes to auditioning for commercial gigs, is it a little bit different from doing so with animation, video games, etc.?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, gracious, yes. But that's just, that's just it though. Like, different no matter what area of acting you're in, different projects require different styles of acting.
Yeah.
You're not going to act the same in a Shakespearean drama as you
Right.
are in like I don't know, an Oscar Wilde play, you know?
Yeah.
It's so yeah, so commercials is different and commercials is very that's the world I come from.
Oh
So I feel
yeah.
like
So yeah, you're natural.
well, I know it well. And I know it's all about timing. The timing has to be
Hmm.
right and it has to sound good within the timing. You can't sound like you're
Exactly.
rushing for the timing.
Hmm.
And it's interesting um the way commercial work prepared me for dubbing work in that
Oh
way
wow. Oh, because
is
the timing. Yeah. You are so
And so
right.
for me, that's all, it's all about timing. Some people, it's, they do visually. For me, it's just I hear the timing of the sentence, I memorize it, and I just go, because it's just
That's
so easy for me to like be like, I can shave off a half second here, and I know how to do that because I've done so many commercials where I've
that's
had to do
amazing that you
that.
mentioned that because when people first get into ADR slash dubbing, they say their background or their time working in the radio station helped them transition well into doing ADR dubbing work. But you to say commercial, it never crossed my mind, but it all makes so sense.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much, Giselle. I did not know that.
There's ways to cross over applicable skills.
hmm
Sometimes you have the tools, you just need to know where to use them.
Exactly. And that moves on to my next question. Since you moved into Southern California slash LA, many actors around your generation, they seek out many more to expanding acting craft. So I'm pretty sure you went over to many veteran actors in the voiceover world. Was Crispin Freeman one of your instructors?
At one point, yeah.
Okay.
I've taken a few classes from Crispin
Okay.
Freeman. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, because I remember I saw a video about telling people who want to do acting, they saying that when it comes to acting, say you really have to give a damn about what you are saying and what you are performing, what's coming out of your words per se. And I love how he gives it not too blunt, but a very honest, down to earth answer to the foundations of acting. Because you don't want to go in there just, even though you are playing pretend, but you want to build that pretend on a real life experience of doing acting work, like acting, like saying like I know how this character been because I've been in that same situation as my character. So I definitely found the foundation of my acting chops along the way.
Definitely. There's different um theories and methods of
Yeah.
acting as well. There are the Stanislavski folks who are, more like connect to something
Yeah.
you've experienced, and then there's, the Meisner folks who are like, connect to the moment.
hmm
Um there's different methods. Everybody, and the thing is, not there's not one right answer for
No,
acting.
it's not.
There's not. There's what works for you,
Mhm.
and whatever works for you has to be healthy for you as well.
Yeah.
Especially as an artist, because we pour so
Yeah.
much of ourselves into our art. it
hmm
it you have to have some sort of separation, or it'll consume you.
Yeah, it
um
definitely will.
yeah, so the important thing of like, when you're able to like connect
hmm
a part of yourself to a character, you have to be able to still feel the difference between yourself and
hmm
that character,
Like
because
fiction from reality.
exactly.
hmm
um because every character dies.
Yeah. Exactly.
Either they die, or you don't get to work on them anymore, and then they're dead. They die for, you in a way.
hmm
Which, maybe that's too sad, but
Yeah, no, no, no. You're fine. It's all honesty. I'm fine.
you
I'm
know
not gonna cry yet.
no, yeah. I have so many characters who I've loved voicing, who I'm never gonna
Yeah,
get to
you
voice again,
you
and I
you
have to
did.
be okay with that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And,
Um
and speaking of character voices, you got involved with this production company called the name of Cup of Tea. One of my I won't say my favorite, but one of my series that I adore and so much. Thanks to Chris. Thank you, Chris. Fire Emblem. So, like I said, this is like another audition. And so when you audition, you went for Namie, right? And then you went on to audition for Malice. So
Other
what?
way around,
Oh,
actually.
oh, really? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know better than I
Malice
do.
Malice was the first one I booked.
Mhm.
And I think both times, I love Cup of Tea. They're
Yeah, they're
wonderful to
they're
work with.
amazing.
Um yeah, both times it's just, I mean, so lovely to work with people who are excited to be working on the thing that they're working on, and
hmm
that's just everyone over there,
Yeah.
and it's always a pleasure to get to work with
So
them.
was it the same director? Was it like Patrick Seiss or Wendy Lee or Caitlin Christian? Which one of those? I know so many
No.
directors in that one picture. It's like which one
You've named
directed
people
you?
I've worked with, but
Yeah, yeah, or directed
um
you, I should say.
oh golly, I think I don't remember.
Okay,
I
no
know
worries.
I know it's different directors both
Yeah.
times. I don't think it wasn't Wendy. Wendy's only directed me on dubs.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
but
Patrick. Sorry.
Patrick
Like that. I like
Patrick, I think the first time, and then I should remember, and I
no,
don't.
no,
It was so
you're
long
fine. It's like a couple of years ago, so
ago.
don't worry, don't. I understand you. I mean, you're an actor. I mean, you've been auditioning, booking, doing sessions. You're doing a lot,
Well,
and
not only that, I do try to make a concerted effort to
yeah,
remember people's names. Like
yeah.
I have a thing where I write down everybody's name every
Yeah,
session, and
I do
I
the
have
same
like a
thing too.
log
Hmm.
because I'm really bad at names.
Yeah.
I used to
And
be a Starbucks barista. I know I'm bad at names.
that will be a joy to see. I mean, if you have somebody like a fancy, unique name and you try to pronounce it, and then I always
Oh,
have
and
that
you
kind of
mess it up?
anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel so bad because oh my goodness. Um um can somebody help me pronounce the name of this person? I'm like, oh no. Because I always have that sheepish look in my face because I pronounce it wrong, then they might bite my head off. So you know.
Oh, no. Well, yeah. I mean, at least that's one of those things where if you're not certain, you can always ask, you know? And I think most people give you grace on that if you're not sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and going back to your roles on Fire Emblem like Malice and ooh, I forgot her name.
Amy.
Namie, yeah. You do a very great job of dissociating both characters because they're two different characters. Namie's so very high-spirited, cutesy, and Malice is basically like a flawed person, very much so with her gambling problems and a lot of things, being a mercenary and all. I'm glad you find that foundation of doing those two characters at different times because were there a session where you had to do two of those characters at the same time? Well, not at the same time, one at a time.
I've had sessions before, not specifically with Malice and Amy, but
Hmm.
where I have played more than one character that were, vastly different.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
apart
It's a
from, the general, like, I do a lot of dubbing, and
yeah.
sometimes when your cast is like a utility player, you just voice all the little roles. So, there's that. There are those. But I remember there was the first time I ever had a really fun, there was a scene I did in the American Girl series for the 2020 Girl of the Year, Joss. I
Mhm.
wasn't her. I played several characters in the series, but there was a scene in one of the episodes where I was playing the three characters talking to each other. And it
Oh
was like the
man.
older sister character chiding the cheerleader character who was making fun of the surfer girl character, and they were all me.
I
So
would
that was
probably
fun.
I probably would lose myself quickly by voicing like you're revisiting the whole scene three different times, and maybe it could be more than three times because you're doing this one line, three different takes, this character, three different takes. That's yeah, I probably will lose my mind by the end of the day and then have to get a good night rest to recover because that's a lot. It's a lot to do. And I mean, actors like you that had that skill to do so within a very consistent, professional, and a very ethical manner. I mean, like, it's amazing skill. And
Oh,
it's
thanks.
a shame that it still get overlooked to this day, while, the art of dubbing keeps getting expanded in so many ways. It's far fathomable. Thank you so much, Giselle. I mean, for sharing that. I'm like three different characters within one scene. Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It was fun though,
Yeah.
It's always a fun little like acting challenge.
Hmm. And going on to another RPG game that you work with called Guardian Tales, I believe this person Jamie directed you in that gig.
Yeah,
What was like
Jamie.
voicing not only voiced this character by the name of Princess, you voiced her in two different stages where she was a child, then she was a mature young woman. So what was the whole creative foundation of you trying to find that child voice and make that character still sound like the same as an adult? Was that like a fun challenge for you?
That was super fun. And that
Okay.
was something we did the first ever session I did for Guardian Tales.
Hmm.
They were like, "We have this character for you. We've booked you as Little Princess, which is her
Hmm.
younger self,
Yeah.
which they had a reference in Korean for her
Ooh.
voice. So it was like
Hmm.
very high pitched, very cutesy, very sweet, and I was able to
Yeah.
match that. That's why they cast me. But then they said, "We have her future character, and we don't have a reference for this one." So we're just going to see how we can take this sound and make it sound like you've grown up a bit. And we played with it a little in session and we landed on
The
what
voice
we
that you
landed on,
finalized,
which is very close to
yeah.
my
And you
very
do
close to
so
my normal
beautifully
talking
too. You
voice.
did an amazing job with that voice too, but because when they sometimes when you do any game that's already done in the original voice, like in Japanese, Korean, or any other language, you had the foundation, but in this case, you had to improvise and come up with that kind of voice, and you did an amazing job of doing so. Thank you so much
Well,
again.
thank you. Well, we worked together as a team to
Yeah,
come
you
up with
got
it,
yeah, it's a
and
very
that
collab
that's
effort.
that's the fun part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun to work with people that have that same kind of Zen energy and that same kind of synchronization of what should we get for this kind of character for that particular production, because you don't want to do things on your own because the one thing is I love when you have directors working with you so much that it takes that load off, but while still enabling your creative side too, because what do you think about this kind of voice? I'm like, yeah, that one, that one, that one. You do an amazing job, that one.
I honestly, the creative process is so much better when you have more than one unique perspective
Hmm.
joining in. It's so much better. Because,
Exactly.
yeah, somebody says something and you go, oh, I hadn't thought of that way. Yeah, let's play with that, you know?
Exactly. And also, moving on, I know when it comes to video games and anime, you record typically by yourself because of technical reasons, but you did a group record session on something called R.L. Stein horror podcast with you work with oh my goodness, you are so lucky. You work with Caleb Yen, Derry Barry, Stephanie Shea, and 9 other actors within the same room. That you guys shared some stories about that. You must have had a ball working with these talented people.
So actually, there are a lot of us who did R.L. Stein's
Yeah.
Goosebumps story. Those
Yeah.
were really fun. Actually, the stories that I was in, the
Hmm.
group records were just me, Tyler, and
Hmm.
Debbie.
Okay.
For to my memory, because I think Caleb and Stephanie were in a different one. I wasn't
Hmm.
in.
Okay.
So, but yeah, but those were so fun.
And
Those
you
were so
play.
fun because we cycled around playing each other's, I played
Yeah.
Debbie's grandmother at one
That's
point.
the funny part.
And like in
I'm
the
like,
next
what's you
episode she's
like
playing
playing
my
a granny?
mom.
Yeah. You playing the grand, and that's the beauty of voiceover because you never know what kind of role you're gonna play. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
could be a 30-year-old man playing like an 80-year-old grandpa or some old elder character. I mean, I don't know why I
Oh,
had the voice that fit the character.
it
That's
was it was so funny. Right after the Goosebumps thing, me
hmm.
and Tyler Shamey were booked in another horror podcast series
Wow.
together where we group recorded again together.
Oh
And we were
wow.
joking. We told the director, we was like, in the past 2 weeks, I have been Tyler's girlfriend, his mother, his sister, his grandmother. like, like going down the list of just,
Yeah. And the director is probably like, okay.
yeah, like, oh yeah, all right. It was just a
The
funny
beauty of
little,
that
yeah.
voiceover. The beauty of voiceover, man.
Mm.
And never a dull moment. Especially that's every time I mean, many other actors I interviewed in the past, they always had that same kind of same but different energy of like you love doing what you're doing because I can see in your face, I can see in your smile that you enjoy doing what you love to do. Is really, really inspiring to hear you guys talk about your stories within your career. It's so amazing.
I'm very fortunate. I'm very grateful to be able to do what I do.
Yeah. And now moving on to oh my goodness, you have a knack for RPG games, do you?
Well,
It
I
just
sure hope so. People keep casting me.
yeah, and you're doing so amazingly well. And going on to this RPG series, which is I'm still shocked that it became such a hit to this day. Like Genshin, I know you
Oh,
Genshin
Genshin
Impact.
Impact. Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck on how it blew up so much. All I just hearing about it 3 years ago, I'm like, what is this game people talking about? And I'm like, I play it and like, okay, now I see why it's a hit now. So you play the character Aloy, and from my understanding, it's a crossover character. And I remember like when the character came out, they saying that nobody knew what actor played this character, and from what I gathered from doing my homework, that you didn't want to be, you said you didn't want to be credited for that role because of various lofty reasons, which I definitely understand. So, but from my opinion, from when I played enough Genshin Impact to understand that you did an amazing job as Aloy. The character was amazing. Like she definitely, thank you. That's sad.
Well, thank you very much.
Hmm.
I had a wonderful person to I had a wonderful character to continue.
Yeah.
I've I was very grateful to be able to play a version of Aloy.
Hmm.
And I was um yeah, very grateful to Ashley Birch for having voiced her in all other, iterations of
Iterations,
Rising Game.
exactly.
Um because yeah, it's such an inspiration.
No, you're good. You did amazing. You did it amazingly well, by the way. It's, again, it's incredible.
Thank you very much. It was fun
It,
to voice her.
and then you also, and this is another game where a lot of actors around your generation talked about, and they say they had a fun time recording and doing a session with Cookie Run
Oh
Kingdom.
yeah.
So from my understanding, Amber Lee Connors directed you in that production, right?
Yes, she did.
And the voice you choose for this character, I tried not to laugh because I don't want to offend nobody because was it like some kind of Scottish voice you were doing for that character? I tried because
Yes.
anytime I hear somebody with a Scottish accent, I have a bad tendency to laugh, so I try to hold my laugh in while making a funny face because the Scottish accent is like it's not I don't normally hear because obviously I'm from eastern part of the US, so you know.
Right. It's not something we hear very often either,
Yeah.
but it is interesting because there's like a cadence to it.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is a Scottish accent. I was mimicking actually a friend of mine's Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But Amber picked the voice.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple options
Hmm.
when I walked in, and she was like, "Well, let's play," and we played, and she liked the Scottish the best, and I have to agree, it was very fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But yeah, it was a fun voice. Definitely it was a joy to my ears because it made me laugh too obnoxiously. So I'm sorry about that. And
laugh is
also,
fun.
I want to backtrack a little bit back when the pandemic first hit. Now, as a voiceover artist, how did it affect you, and how did you handle it going forward when the pandemic first hit?
Um,
You're fine. I know I'm going way back about 3 years ago.
yeah, it's been a few years, huh?
Yeah, going on
Um,
4 years now. Whew.
I know. Golly. 2020, the beginning of 2020 was me pulling myself out of one of the worst years of my life from
Oh, I'm so sorry
2019.
about that.
Um, no, it's hey, life
Yeah, I
happens.
understand.
Um, but I I was like, it had just been such a rough year for me that I was just like aggressively doing anything and everything I could be doing, and I think
Hmm.
it really paid off because
Yeah.
I was just in that like mode of like I am going to swim or or I'm getting carried away by the current and I am dying in the middle of the ocean. I don't care. So that was top of 2020. I ground a bit, got some
Yeah.
money and invested into my like
Home
my
studio.
my home
Yeah.
studio,
Yeah.
and that
It looks
paid
pretty
off.
nice, by the way. The inside, the comfy little bumper thingy. I
Thank you.
probably saying it wrong.
Or a Lex Flown.
Yeah. This
Um
So if you accidentally hit your head while you acting, you can always have that cushion fall, you know.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Floomp floomp floomp.
Yeah.
Um yes, now I've upgraded to actually owning a booth.
Oh, nice.
So that's what we are. You're inside my booth right
Amazing transition, by the way.
now. The foam is actually courtesy of a friend of mine who used to be the creative director at Yahoo.
Oh, nice.
Um, they were tearing down a sound studio, and he had a bunch of
Awfully kind of them.
wonderful person. Very
Yeah.
grateful. But yeah, so.
hmm
But
And
that's why networking is so important, and that's
and
why
very
meeting
much so.
people and making friends is so important in this industry. Because
And
you never
I'm
know,
mhm,
who's gonna think of you or what.
exactly. And since home studios becoming more viable and more versatile as more actors are building more and adding more to the foundation, you manage to find gigs even in the state of Texas, such as Sound Cadence, Crunchyroll, Okratron. So when you did Prince of Tennis 2, was this done at Sound Cadence Studio or you done it here at your home studio?
I did, I think, all of that from home.
Oh, nice. Yay,
Yeah.
Sound Cadence!
And Calvin was
I
amazing
absolutely,
director.
that's my favorite studio from the state of Texas because they are so wonderful group of folks, the people that they have, that they collaborate. They understand that they even manage to get talent outside the state, outside the country, like even in the UK, Australia. I'm like, that's amazing. I never seen that kind of collab like that since NYAV Pose when with Michael
Mhm,
Center Nicholas and his group of folks.
mhm,
It's that kind of networking because with voiceover, you figure like if you're not aware what the work is, you're not gonna progress more in your career, especially if you're aiming for the anime roles or any other things related, such as animation, video games, because if you're somewhere where commercial, but you're looking for anime, you're not gonna book as many gigs that you will want unless you have a direct goal for commercial work and working on trying to relocate to where the actual gigs are. But I'm glad that with the pandemic, there was like some highs and lows, but the highs were definitely home studios being a viable option, and then studios like New NYAV Post and Sound Cadence work with you guys, and they did an amazing job collaborating with you guys. I can't thank them enough for this. And going back to Prince of Tennis, sorry, I'm talking too much. How was that session for say? Because that's another production where like a lot of directors around there, like Howard Wayne, Alejandro. Do you remember the director in that session?
Howard Wang.
Okay.
uh I was the best director for that because
Oh,
he was in
nice.
love with the
hmm
show and he had been for years. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, get someone
Anytime I
who
follow
cares
him on
about
social
it.
media, I hear him talking about Prince of Tennis and whatnot. I'm like, okay, this is okay. Anime about tennis. Okay, I dig it. I mean, it's creative.
Sports animes are, I
Yeah,
think, so fun, so over the top in such
yeah,
a
because you never
earnest
guess
way.
like you see that typical sport being produced in a more high energy anime type level.
Yeah,
And Prince of Tennis definitely delivers in that regard for sure.
for sure.
And going next to another studio, Okratron, you did this character by the name of Theo. Now, being a voice actor,
Teo is his
Theo, I'm
name,
sorry.
actually.
I'm like, I see,
I
I
don't
told you
remember
I'm bad
much,
with
but I do
names.
remember some things.
Thank you for helping me pronounce your name.
All good.
So, as you know, with your voiceover training, when in voicing Theo, like, what was like creating the voice for this character for you when you did it for the sessions you had with the character?
Teo was different.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I couldn't follow the J actor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the for context,
Yeah.
Teo is like an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the actor that they got in Japanese to voice him is very clearly a grown man. Um,
No.
so
You figure they would hire like an actress or a female presented actor like to
that was the choice the director made, and that was
yeah,
their choice. And the
yeah.
director for the English version chose to make a different choice. Um,
That's
so
ironic 'cause I figure like they'll cast an actress for the role, but for Japan, that's a
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Sometimes, yeah, whatever. Different
Hmm.
people have different visions, and
Yeah, agreed.
so when it got translated, I was the vision, the new vision for Teo, and it did
Hmm.
give me a little more freedom with the character because I didn't have somebody
Hmm.
else's performance I had to base off of.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that was nice.
Yeah, definitely expand your creativity and your creative process of creating character voices for sure. And going back to boy voices, was that a challenge in trying to find it depending on if you're given the character size, if you find the character size, personality description of the character, like does it help you a lot of creating that specific character voice for boys? Because some fans have this misconception saying that for in order for an actor or an actress doing the boy voice, they must deepen their voice to a point where or raspy up their voice of like, yeah, 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 or something like something goofy because anytime like a female or non-binary actors that female present non-binary excuse me if I'm saying it wrong. Like such as because I know you're non-binary, so I don't wanna if I ever misgender you, I'm so sorry if I did. Okay.
You're totally fine.
So what so my go point my cross, what's the process of when you create a character voice for a boy? A little boy, but per se, you know.
The process?
Mhm.
I mean, well, first thing, I mean, you gotta sort of follow the character description. What kind of a boy is he? Is
Yeah.
he like, you know, excitable, rough and
Sensitive.
tumble, the
Yeah.
raspy voice kid?
Yeah.
Is he quiet and shy and kind of keeps to
Timid.
himself reading a book in
Yeah.
the corner? Is he
Introvert.
the like outspoken nerd? You know, like they're all different.
Hmm.
So, you know, based on the personality, you know, follow the energy and then that kind of informs the voice.
Hmm.
Debbie Derryberry is actually the one who gave me really good tips about
Oh yeah.
differentiating
Hmm.
boy voices
Yeah,
and
she definitely
female
have a
voices.
knack for doing so because she her vast experience on a certain show, you know.
Her resume speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I would never tell that was a an actress, a woman voicing a character like Jimmy Neutron. Absolutely not.
She's great. But yeah, but so for her, she was talking, she talks about, you know, it's a social thing, but
Yeah.
there's an energy that
Hmm.
boys have that girls usually don't.
Hmm.
Because girls are taught to contain themselves
Yeah.
and boys are allowed to be loud and
Because like exhilarating,
rambunctious as children.
eccentric, and yeah,
Right.
outgoing. Yeah.
So you have to like you know, the voice doesn't matter as much as that energy does.
Hmm.
Because that's where the acting is. That's where people are paying
Yeah, and
attention.
that's the
Even if
and
your
that
voice doesn't.
and it's an amazing thing you said that too because fans always have that like I said going back to they always had the focus on the voice. No, don't focus just on the voice. Focus on why it is that's the voice for that character per se. You never know if it's like there could be a female actor doing like a one character voice and the reason why they use that because it fits well with so many other characters. Sometimes they might do a different variation. Like I'm pretty sure you know the actress by the name of Mona Marshall, right?
Not personally,
Oh no no no
but
no not personally. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm sorry. It's like I should say you know of,
yes.
but yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, it's a
Mm,
key difference. Yeah, because she has various variation of boy voices, and sometimes she'll still use the same one because if it fits the character, she'll use it. But I've seen her do very different variation of the boy voices that she get for these characters. I remember she did like a sinister type, raspy voice, rough and tough voice, nerdy type. It's the list goes on, and like they're saying, like you looking at the character in the description, you thinking about how to get that character to like, wow, we're so much about the voice placement, you know. And thank you for so much for sharing that about the process because that's really, really need to be taken account of when fans like to judge certain performances. I'm like, no, are you judging them right? Are you giving them feedback or you just saying, oh, I don't like this and it should be changed? Like, no, you gotta understand why that was there in the first place because we're not there when your clients are making these decisions. Oh, we want it this way. And you mean like sometimes the actors don't have the choice of saying that they want it that way. They gotta listen to the director, the producers, their clients. Most importantly, like it's a collaboration effort, and some fans need to understand and know that, you know.
for sure.
Yeah. And moving on, you worked on this. I don't want to say a girly show. I kind of feel like I'm a kid back in the early 2000s. You worked on something called Rainbow High. You played a character Mia in. I recognize your voice a little bit because my nieces were watching it. I'm
Kaya.
like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, is that Giselle? And then I look on my phone. Oh, that is them. I'm like, okay, okay. And working, oh, no, that's another series where more than one director was involved. Was Jenny directing you for your session, or was it a different director?
Jenny's the one who cast me.
Okay. Hmm.
And initially she's the one who directed me for season 2. So yeah.
Nice. And I've been told by,
Kaya, by the way, is her
oh,
name.
yeah. And I've been told by
It's
Jenny,
spelled Kia, but it's pronounced Kaya.
yeah, I've
That
been told
that threw
by,
me too. Like when I got the call back,
yeah.
we were doing like, "Hi, I was saying, "Hi, I'm Kia
Yeah.
Hart," and they had to be like, "No, everybody's saying that, but this is how it's pronounced."
Yeah, it's all good. And I know Jenny, I've been told by many people around your generation that Jenny been an amazing director. She knows what she's,
Jenny not only is an amazing director, is just an amazing human. I
yeah,
mean, she's
she is.
such a lovely person.
Hmm.
I have immense respect and love for her.
Yeah, very amazing person indeed. And now this is the one question that I patiently waited for. Oh my gosh. And we're going back to cup of tea. No, I'm just kidding. Oh no, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. We're going back to cup of tea. I gotta stop saying that. It's a unique name, but I would love to have a cup of tea during the session. But for this particular session, how when I first heard it, I'm like, all right, they finally give them new voices and whatnot. But then I find out that that actress have been doing the voice for years. She's not in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, who's doing the voice now? I mean, they sound amazing. I'm like, it sounded like the actor never left, but it's clearly a new actor. And then I saw your name, and then you announced it on social media that you played Princess Daisy. I was blown away. I'm like, you do an amazing job, Giselle. I'm like, what the heck? I
Aw,
couldn't tell a
thanks.
difference, but I as I was playing the game, I noticed like you gave a lot of unique performances in addition to trying to match what Deanna did previously. So, can you please share how that heck did you found out audition and how did it came to you from like Nintendo? I know Patrick Sice directed you again, cup of tea. Can you please share the story, please?
I think I had a like hyperventilation attack when I got the audition. um,
Wait, pause real quick. So that means you're a Super Mario fan?
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Are there people who aren't?
Exactly. I
I
mean,
don't. No,
continue.
I mean, even if you're not a Super Mario, I mean,
Mhm.
have, I love Super
Me
Mario.
too.
I could talk for ages about my history with it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, but, even if you're
Mhm.
not a Super Mario fan, you
Yeah.
know who the characters are.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but you know who Princess Daisy and
Yeah.
Princess Peach. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was flipping my lid.
Oh my goodness. That had to be nerve-wracking and just a wholeheartedly an amazing experience because I mean, besides, I don't know what happened with the previous actress, but honestly, it's none of our business because, like yourself, she's very private too when it comes to like you gotta respect that kind of boundary. But I'm glad that the opportunity came your way and you did so beautifully. I mean, you definitely sound like you were having too much fun, which I don't blame you because
I
you're playing
was. There were a few
you
times where we would do things and then the poor engineer would be like, "I don't know how you got louder, but you got louder. So, can we do this again?" Like, I don't know how big your lungs actually are,
yeah,
but good lord.
yeah. And
So
so when you were doing the voiceover matching, was it a little bit trickier or you just naturally got gone with the flow with it?
I honestly, when I got the audition, I had like a woo
Mhm.
woo what?
Yeah.
Um, but the freaking out didn't really come into play until I listened to the reference of like, here's what Daisy sounds like, what we kind of want you to sound like.
Mhm.
I listened to it, and I hadn't really ever had that you don't go I don't go through characters like I could voice that, I could voice that, I could voice that,
Right,
you
right, right,
know.
right.
Um, like, but it was just that moment of like, I heard what they wanted from me, and I knew I could do it.
Hmm.
And that was what freaked me out. I was like, "Oh my god, this audition is mine to fuck up." Pardon my
You're fine.
language.
You're fine.
But
Yeah, I'm 31, so
I
I
That's
heard
fair. All
many
right, yeah.
awful words, so you're good.
It was just that moment of I
Mhm,
have this.
mhm,
If I want this, I have this, I think.
mhm.
And so I did it, and I freaked out and I obsessed over it, and I told myself to stop obsessing over it and just send it in. So I just sent
Yeah,
it in,
yeah.
and they cast me. And yeah, the
And then and another
I'll say, well,
question.
I just the thing that they said that they liked
Yeah,
about my audition was my enthusiasm. So there was that.
yeah.
They
It
had
definitely shown.
yeah, they were like the I don't remember who it was, but thanked me for going hard in my audition was the word was the exact phrasing. I was like,
You
all
definitely,
right.
I could definitely believe that. Absolutely, no, yeah, exactly. And were there any clients from like Japan, from Nintendo of Japan, were there during the session, or just like another between you, the engineer, Patrick, or
There was a whole busload of people.
I would have had an anxiety attack from that because I could, if you're going through this, imagine Kevin going through this voice in Mario and Luigi. So you
Oh
know,
my gosh. Yeah, right?
oh my
Well,
gosh.
so here's the thing. Here's the part where being a childhood voice actor helps me.
Hmm.
Because when I was a little kid, the studio, the like recording studio was a safe place.
Hmm.
It was like it was like a free place, and it was quiet and it was dark and it was there was always pistachios. It's the studio in Atlanta I went to. The acoustic always had pistachios. Um, and so I can't not just feel calm, grounded, and happy and safe when I walk into a recording studio. And that's helped me. So I didn't have to feel nervous about there being a billion people on the Zoom or whatever
Right,
because
right.
I'm used to a commercial world where there are a billion people on the other end that I don't know
Yeah.
what they're saying, where they are. I'm in the dark most of the time, so
And you've been doing
I don't
this
know.
for so long too, so you basically have the professionalism to understand the whole pressure or the whole thing of so many eyes darted at me while I'm trying to give my best performance at what they were asked of me, because I just can imagine your clients from Nintendo Japan just looking like this, just like looking over behind the glass and
They're
whatnot.
not glaring at you.
Okay.
They're
I'm sorry, I just assuming that's me assuming because if that happened to me, I probably would have an asthma attack, but from the stress of like, oh my goodness, they screwed me
not.
up. But I'm just hopefully that just in case, because I know in the voice production in that game, it happened in two different locations, the one in Cupertine and the same studio they've been using in the Seattle, Washington area, where the
Okay.
other seasoned actors that have been voicing the characters a lot longer been doing their session. Because I remember I stay engaged with Kenny James, the voice of Bowser. He told me that anytime he had to do like a session related to Mario, he got to fly out way to Washington State to do the session and whatnot. I'm like, oh man, because he
Jeez.
lives in Texas now, so
Oh,
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
But it's just like because it wasn't too new for Charles Martinet before he retired because he lived in California, but he fly over to Washington anytime they needed him to record anything Mario related.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I'm just again, you Giselle, you did an amazing job as Daisy, and I can pray and sincerely wish that when if you get a call from Cup of Tea relating to Mario related, hopefully it'll be another Daisy session because
If they ever ask me again, I won't say no, but I'm not expecting anything.
yeah, I understand. And the thing is, the last part, the previous actress, the last time she probably even did a session for Daisy was probably 10 years ago because
Well, I'd say
and that
there are several voice actors for Daisy.
yeah, there were a couple before.
I'm not the only half
Oh
Cupid,
no. Oh
even.
no 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 no. No, I was saying that Daisy it's actually been like 10 years since Daisy had like new voice clips because Nintendo had the thing of using performances from previous productions and sometimes I like it because I like hearing the same kind of voice clip in a newer title at times, but I can't like I'm looking back and like wow, it's really been 10 years because the last time I hear Daisy having any kind of new voices were like in Mario Kart 8 and that came out like 10
Oh
years ago.
yeah, that was 10 years ago.
And I'm glad you just breathe a lot of fresh air to the character and gave her that spunk, that tomboyish quality. Like, you know the character more than I do. Exactly, so.
I love her.
And as much as I do want to move on, but I mean, as much as I don't want to move on, I
Yeah.
definitely want to move on to another production studio in LA. It could be in Burbank or somewhere else. Studiopolis. So, in the wake after the Super Mario Bros. Wonder amazing title, you stumbled across an audition voicing this character Ukama from Digimon. Were you familiar with Digimon? No.
I wasn't unfamiliar, but it was just I didn't watch it growing up. I feel
That's
like I
fine.
ever so slightly just missed the bill on it.
Yeah.
Um, I, so I knew about Digimon in so much that I have a very obsessive friend who has
Oh
told
yeah.
me all about all of Digimon.
Yeah.
Um,
You're
and
fine.
to that extension, my character and his opinions on the new movie and all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Which hey, that's just I
Yeah, that's
don't.
his opinion. He's entitled to it.
Everybody's got there, but no, I wasn't overly familiar with Digimon.
Yeah. So
Um,
did your agency gave you the like send you the audition files from like Studiopolis, and I guess was the casting director was it Rita or Jamie, if you can
Jamie.
remember? Jamie Simone? Okay, yeah.
Jamie cast me in it, and I don't actually recall. I don't think I auditioned for it. I think
Oh.
he just cast me in it based on because we had done a different project together
Okay, so you was already
very
collabed with
recently.
Jamie
So
before.
I was
Okay.
on his mind, I think. Yeah, and so
Okay.
he knew I could do the voice.
Yeah, because with Jamie Simone, he been in the business a lot longer. Oh my goodness. Because I know many veteran actors that known Jamie for a while, like R. Martin Klein. He was known for Digimon too, so he told me that he known Jamie for years, and part of the reason why he's still involved with Digimon because of Jamie and whatnot. So and then going on to voicing Ukamon was the director Susie or Ryan, if you can remember.
Ryan, I
Ryan
believe.
Johnston, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ryan.
Okay.
Uh,
Because they're like
yeah.
the top two when it comes to anything anime or Studiopolis related, it's either Ryan or Susie. So it's like,
Mhm.
and I was like stunned that they're both were co-directing this series per se, and I'm like, okay. Luckily, we have familiar directors that know these characters now. So voicing Ukama, was did the character kind of creep you out a little bit while you was performing, or you was just trying to stay in character while not being overly, exasperated or just caught off guard by the character because the character means well, but he have a very exotic way of showing it. I would try to choose my words carefully because I've
It's
seen
a
a lot
little
of
heavy.
yeah, very I know you've seen it during your sessions, so it's like yeah,
Yeah.
very misguided.
Spoilers for Digimon.
Oh yeah. Oh
Or
sorry,
Digimon
yeah.
2, the new movie.
Yeah, you
Um,
could. Yeah, it's not
yeah.
publicly out yet, so I should say that. Sorry, spoiler
Is it not
alert.
out yet?
It came out for a one night release in the theaters, but it's not no DVD, no Blu-ray yet. No
Gotcha,
announcements
gotcha,
for
gotcha.
that yet. So not many people seen it. It's just only like select a few that had the opportunity to see it in the theater for that one night showing. Like
Gotcha.
most
Like
anime.
my friend who's a big nerd.
Yeah.
um, okay, cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, the thing. So the thing about acting. Uh,
Yeah, the
the
magic word.
thing. The thing about acting. And this, I mean, more so than anything else. I would give this advice to people in commercials,
Mhm.
because that's where people I think miss it the most.
Yeah.
You have to believe what you're saying. You have to believe what you're saying. You just have to. And I think of Ukaman as what is a little kid's solution to their problems.
Hmm.
Like it's the quickest thing. It's the
Hmm.
first thing they think of, and it's not taking into consideration a larger context of the world or relationships or anything else because you're a kid. You don't
Hmm.
have that larger context yet.
Exactly. The repercussions, the comeuppance behind the decisions, like, the whole idea of be careful what you wish for, yeah.
Exactly. So take a little kid who
Hmm.
all he wants to do is help his best friend who's really hurt and having a hard time.
Hmm.
And I have magical powers.
Hmm.
I could just do everything in my power to make you happy, which to
Exactly.
me is forcing everybody else to be nice to you
Hmm.
and making sure I say what you want to hear.
Hmm.
That's
It,
not
yeah.
intentionally manipulative. That's a
No.
little kid's version of
Yeah,
helping.
and yeah, it's like, yeah, like you don't see it misguided because honestly, in Ukamon's mind, you sincerely believe you were helping this person out. It's just like the person that asked for the help got carried away, and then understand the whole foundation of the consequences behind those kind of decisions and wishes.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of the sort of
Basically,
resolution to the end of the movie
mm-hmm,
is we were both little kids. One of us had a lot of power and
mm-hmm.
misused it, but we were kids, so let's try and
And they had finally
start
like,
over, move past it.
yeah, and they reconciled in the end. They had that resolution. It was brilliantly done by you and AJ Beckles because that was an interesting movie. I liked it for that kind of reason because it gives you that it makes you think about as a kid, like there's so many things you wanted, then you realize I'm glad I didn't get what I wanted because it could have lead to very destructive capabilities. And
Yeah,
it gave me like a new perspective. Like I'm glad that I don't have everything I wanted. Like I'm more grateful that I have what I need right now going forward.
exactly.
And and before I close this interview off, have you made a couple of friends? I know this is like a little personal. Have you made a couple of friends within the voiceover community? Because I know we mentioned a couple of names.
Yes, I
Mhm,
have. No, I mean, yeah, you meet people when you go to like classes or
mhm,
meet the agents' nights or meet the casting directors' nights or
mhm,
even
mhm.
when something comes out that you're in with somebody else. Like even most of the time you don't know until it comes
Right,
out,
it comes
but
out. Hmm.
you can connect over that. Sometimes you meet people at a premiere or you meet
Yeah.
people,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
so there are ways to meet people, but it
Yeah.
is it is harder for voice
Yeah.
actors for sure. A
Exactly.
lot more
And with that
isolated.
being with that being said, if you were given the opportunity to be invited to a con, will you making a public appearance in your opinion? If you say no, I totally understand because
For COVID reasons, probably not.
yeah. Hmm.
I have pretty delicate immune system,
Oh
and
yeah, I understand. I
I
had
used to
chronic
get sick
asthma.
from cons before COVID. Like
Okay, yeah,
every
yeah.
time, I would get the con
That
crud
I
every time.
greatly understand. So
So
once
at
it's
this moment, my
mhm.
answer is no. But
Yeah, that's honestly that's the fairest answer you can ever give about this because COVID is still out there, fortunately, and and the only way to be safe is we gotta make some sacrifices in order to have that better quality of life. I mean, things may not go back to the way it were before March 2020, but we just gotta make adaptive, wise, and considerate choices moving forward as decent human beings.
right.
And I want to, and also this one question I definitely want to ask you, you being part of SAG-AFTRA, when the strike happened, how did you approach it per se? Because I know you all about decency when it comes to entertainers, actors, because my mind was just going through my head like, what's going on with SAG right now? And then I
Right
found because
now.
yeah, and then when the writer's strike happened, like, man, it's been like 15 years since the last one, and then what if SAG going on strike? Because I believe that's going to happen too with the whole abundance of the misuse of AI tech. Oh my goodness, a lot. It's a lot to take over my head because part of me, I probably would see it shrink by now if I was trying to act. Because my thing, like as an actor, you want to do the thing that you want to love to do, and I would hate it when something like that threatens your ability to do what you love because that's not right. And it's with SAG-AFTRA, I just hopefully your union knows what best, and let me bring the floor back to you. So what was your take during the strike and how did you approach it?
During the strike, I
Hmm.
went out
Yeah, you did.
and I marched to support as much as I could. I
Hmm.
brought other people to come, you know, walk the
Yeah.
circle with me as much as I could. And I supported as much as I could during the writer's strike and during the actor's strike
Hmm.
because and the writers, they were on the lines for so
Yeah, they
long.
were.
They
They
picketed for
were.
over half a year.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
It
and
lasted
then
that long.
when they got their deal, they didn't stop marching. They didn't
Hmm.
stop because the actors hadn't gotten their deal yet, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, never did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a lot of opinions that
Hmm.
I will reserve
Yeah, yeah. That I
about SAG-AFTRA at the
totally
moment.
get. I definitely understand Giselle
I'll
because
say
kids are
this much.
okay.
I don't think they've ever given a crap about the voiceover community. I just don't think they ever have. From their inception to the time they swallowed AFTRA, I don't think they have. And I never have thought that
Yeah.
because it's very evident once you enter the voiceover community
Yeah,
how
and
little
because
SAG AFTRA gives a shit.
and it just hit
And
me
they're not a
too.
union, they're a guild. Sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, you're fine.
Sorry.
And and I mean, it hit me, and I knew the answer right as I was growing up the past 15 years, but it took me until 2020 to realize of how person of color actors have been misrepresented and been underappreciated during the voiceover role, which is very, very ironic per se, because you want to find the best voice that actor brings rather than worry about how they look and how they identify. It's like, why are we worrying about that? We worry about the actors performing what they can bring for the character. You not, rather than them, along with them being decent people. I mean, what's really the issue? I mean, as long as they're a decent person, they bring their best what they had as an actor.
Well, I understand the want for authenticity in
Yeah.
casting in certain
Hmm.
aspects. Like,
Exactly.
there's we can't have equality till we have equity, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
I don't see an issue with casting accurately,
no,
or
I don't
casting
either.
authentically,
Hmm.
in terms of like people of color. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think people of color should be restricted to just playing
Yeah.
characters
And
of color.
that was like an issue too because I realized like
That's stupid.
yeah because like oh yeah we see this Doug, we're gonna make this Doug type black hero. Why not cast a black actor that can do it just to fill in the whole quota or whatnot? That's some kind of misguided quota right there. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
to fill
that's
a DEI requirement? You know what?
yeah,
The
that
reason those exist is because things are wrong right now.
yeah. I'm like, that's not cool. And then it's one thing. Like, I really pray that things get better going on because we're not really at the point where blind audition can happen in a way because we want to make sure all actors, regardless how they identify, regardless what how they look like, are bringing the same opportunity. Like you should only, as a casting director, you should only based on what they can bring as a performer, regardless of how they look and how they identify. Like again, because that's what I'm looking for. Because if I mean, when I found out that Samurai Jack was voiced by a black actor, I'm like, wow, I did not know that. He's really good. I want to care if you were black or not, but this is good. This is like the kind of thing you want to expect too, but don't. It's complicated, and
It is complicated, and there's more to the
yeah.
conversation, you
So
know?
I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go down divulge too much, but I want to say my final question is like I know you shared this earlier in the interview. What can you say for folks trying to get into the industry as a voiceover artist? What's the kind of feedback and advice will you give to them if they want to pursue this kind of career?
I mean, if you love it, go for it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's I mean, yeah. Try,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, no, you're fine
It,
because
there's
yeah.
not a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I say
only
like
do it if you really love it. Don't expect to, become rich and famous.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, check out. I mean, I'll always plug the Vorg. I will always plug the Vorg. The voiceover resource guide. Everybody check it out.
Yeah.
If you wanna yeah, if you want to check out resources in voiceover, there are so many classes that are online
Hmm.
thanks to the pandemic. I
Yeah.
mean, the pandemic is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Killed a lot
Hmm.
of people, but some good things came out of it.
Yeah,
And
it did. It did. I mean, and when you have,
accessible learning is one of them.
yeah, and when you have veteran people like Debbie Derryberry, Crispin
Yes.
Freeman teaching and giving you advices, like what more can you want? I mean, if you really crave that acting food, you got to really go out there and put yourself out there. And like Crispin Freeman said, you got to give a damn of what you're doing, what you're saying coming from your mouth when you're performing. I mean,
For voiceover, I'll say a background in acting is good to have.
oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I remember this one actress. I mean, this was at a convention panel. Like she's saying that somebody, it's like a fan came up to her saying that I want to get into voice acting, like, but I don't have any acting experience. She's like, okay, let's start there.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
it.
you can't get into voiceover because you can't say I have a nice voice. I mean, but if you have no kind of acting or any kind of performance behind it, I mean,
Yeah,
don't expect to be cast.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's that saying of voice acting is 10% voice, 90% acting.
Hmm.
You have the voice? Great, that's 10% down.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's,
like,
that's still something. It's better than nothing,
yeah.
but
Like you gotta
yeah.
start from somewhere, especially learning the whole foundation of acting before we go any more much further, such as creating a demo, having a home studio for backup in
Right.
case you can't make it to the studio. And another veteran actor said you also gotta know the business too, all the whole professionalism, and also being and somehow this is becoming an issue for some. Be a decent human being too.
Oh, well,
Treat you,
that's
yeah.
any industry is gonna have,
Oh yeah,
you know,
you gonna have a
unfortunately, there are
couple of,
good people everywhere, but
yeah,
there are also bad people everywhere.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. And and I do respect the whole idea of being a decent human being. You don't have to be too nice or nice and overall, but don't go out your way to being mean just because. Is I mean, rather be a decent person, saying like you look good. Like I mean, there's way better ways to approach people. Like, oh, you're doing a good job. I don't like what you did, but I just want to accept it. But I'm not gonna go beyond my way to harass people and say mean things because I don't like them. I don't like this person, but
Well, yeah,
yeah, I'm going to
you
respect
know,
them per se because they're still a human being. And I have no right to treat them in any kind of
I'll
disarray.
say, I
Mhm.
do want to say, more commonly than people just being mean for no reason, because
Yeah,
sometimes people are.
yeah,
Um,
they are. Oh my, they're the worst.
something I notice sometimes with greener voice actors, um,
Yeah.
the piece of advice I would give to a lot of people is put your
Mhm.
shield down.
Oh
No
yeah.
one's attacking you.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you'll see younger voice actors or even younger actors, um, try and clap back to their director after getting direction.
Ooh.
Like if I, like for example, if I give you a note and you tell me that's what you were trying to do, I don't, you, that's not helpful.
Yeah, it's not.
If
That's
that's
not.
if the director gives you a note and
Hmm.
the note is what you were trying to do the first time, then then your effort the first time didn't land for the director.
Hmm.
So, that means go a different direction.
Hmm.
It's not a critique on you or your talent or your ability.
No.
It's just saying, "Hey, we went this way, but I was kind of looking that way. Can we try that way?"
Hmm.
And a lot of times some people have a hard time letting go of their ego or their pride
Yeah.
and going, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that."
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's one of that just taking feedback, not criticism, just feedback, because feedback is always, it's not mean, it's not, sometimes it can be positive, but it's not mean per se. It's just more like a general feedback of you should do it this way because reasons explained by the director, producer, and sometimes even the client. I mean, and as an actor, you gotta, like I say, you gotta give what they asking for. It's like it's pretty much standard in
right.
the business, you
And
know?
there's room to collaborate, of course.
Exactly.
You're there to create the character just as much as they're there to create the character, but yeah, but just be open to other ideas.
Hmm.
Don't feel as though it's an attack on you when you get pushed in a different direction.
Right. And I definitely believe that. But Giselle, thank you so much for your time. I think as we speak for over an hour. I'm so sorry about that.
It's all good. It
It's
was
like,
great talking to
like it could have been doing
you.
something more worthwhile on a Sunday night. Well, Sunday evening at this point. But thank you so much.
Dinner.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's 8 o'clock here, so I'm pretty sure it's like 5 o'clock in LA right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
But with
good.
that with that said, Giselle, thank you so much for your time. I definitely I'm very privileged of speaking with you, talking about your career, the amazing things have you done so far, and I definitely pray and hope that I see so many future things going on this year that I'm really, really excited for. So I'll definitely be following you through wherever social media that you prefer to use. So not just like, hey Giselle, yeah, I heard you in this thing, you did amazing. So I'll definitely be that one fan that shoot out that positivity feedback and whatnot. So
I always love the positivity, so
yeah. So definitely look for that whenever you're using social media like Instagram or whatnot.
appreciate it.
And you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and you also have an awesome week, Giselle. And thank you so much for this time.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
Same here, and you have a great me home. I'm stumbling with my words because I'm talking so much, but you enjoy the rest of your day, ma'am. I mean, enjoy the rest of your day, Giselle.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.